Akumu, are you going to be vegan?
Claire, are you going to learn Greek?
Yeah.
For me, hell yeah as well.
Yeah.
But can we say yes to everything?
We.
No.
Yes. Sí. Yeah.
Sindio?
Kabisa.
Yeah, let's see. It depends on what they give us and if we can handle it. I mean, but if we can handle veganism, we can handle anything, right?
We can handle it. You can't say no because we are
the Yes Girls!
Hello, yes people. We are the Yes Girls and you're joining us for episode 1 of the Yes Girls podcast in Nairobi, Kenya, on this pretty cloudy but still very positive, shiny day. We all dream of becoming more considerate humans, more skilled professionals, more world-savvy connoisseurs. But really, how often do we say yes when opportunities arise?
Yes, and we, the Yes Girls, are 2 Nairobi-based wanderlusters, if you want to know. And we are making it our mission to say yes to doing, being, and learning something new, something different every 2 weeks. Yes, every fortnight. And we'll be documenting our journeys. So this podcast is a result of us saying yes to sometimes challenging, sometimes fun, sometimes downright outrageous experiences. And hopefully they'll entertain you. So, Claire, I'm Yes Girl 1, right?
No, I'm Claire. You're Kumu.
Yes, but I wanted to be Yes Girl 1.
Okay, let's just be a Kumu and Claire. We don't need a number 1 or 2. We're just the Yes Girls. Yeah?
Okay.
So, let's see what we've been saying yes to this week and what you can expect in today's episode.
So, in today's episode, we explore one of the most talked about dinner table conversations in the world right now. Hopefully, the most. And one which can be as divisive as it can be productive, being vegan. We said yes to living 100% plant based vegan diet for a whole week with no exceptions.
And we're gonna, that's the idea. And we're gonna share with you the highs and the lows.
The sugar highs and the energy lows
of being vegan and what we learned along the way, not only through our own experiences, but also from consulting experts and people that have much more to say on the matter than we do.
So to start with, we'll start with some stats and what we've researched about veganism, okay?
Because we did actually research this properly.
Yes, we did our best. So veganism is not only a lifestyle choice, it's an entire economy unto its own. And it's even been a political point with regards to environmental impact and health effects. So according to recent statistics, adopting a vegan and flexitarian diet, flexitarian? What does that mean again?
Like maybe sometimes a vegetarian, sometimes vegan, sometimes a bit of pescatarian, you eat fish. It's more fluid, but not just I eat anything whenever.
Okay. So according to recent statistics, adopting a vegan and flexitarian diet is becoming increasingly popular. And in fact, it has seen exponential growth in the last few years. So according to Forbes, plant-based product sales in the US grew by 31% from 2017 to 2019. Amanda is happy about that. You'll find out who Amanda is. And the Vegan Society tells us that almost half of the vegans in the UK switched to a vegan diet in the last year. And India is actually the leading vegan nation. And it's also one of the most vegan-friendly nations in the world after Greece, believe it or not.
Which reminds me...
No, not too soon. Wait till the end of the show to learn what's interesting about that particular point.
Okay. So let's keep the suspense going. So what I also learned in my research is, of course, there are many pros to veganism. In a study conducted by M. McNinn, we can guess what the M stands for. I don't know. And published in the Journal of Pediatrics in 2015. So that is a real stat. You can go and check it out. A vegan diet led to decreased obesity, lower cholesterol, lower BMI, and lower blood sugar levels.
Oh, that's kind of obvious, no?
Well, there's what you think and there's what is proven. This is scientifically proven. I saw there were a list of about 10 different studies from different institutions that have all proven the same thing.
Okay. However, experts also weigh in on the risks of a fully vegan diet that puts individuals at risk for vitamin B12 deficiencies, amongst other health risks. So, according to BBC News, a recent study of 48,000 people over 18 years compared the health of meat eaters, pescatarians, I like this word, it's like flexitarians, and vegetarians, and including some vegans. And what they found from this study is that people who eat vegan and vegetarian diets have a lower risk of heart disease, but a higher risk of stroke. Imagine. So, possibly partly due to the lack of B12. However, there's general consensus that more long-term studies are needed to assess the true impact of plant-based diets on humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still relatively new in the grand scheme of things. And so what we all know, I think, is that you can be motivated by different reasons to become vegan or have any sort of specific diet revolving around meat or animal-based products. And many are motivated by environmental factors. The amount of water, land, and resources required to produce meat is considered to far outweigh that needed by plant-based foodstuffs. So it's not only good for you, but can also be good for the world.
Yep. And so we decided to try being vegan. We tried a plant-based diet for an entire week. And I think we cheated a bit because we started on a Sunday and ended on a Sunday.
So we did 8 days.
Yes, we did more than a week. Yeah. So we wanted to see what that would do to us, and we wanted to learn whether we might adopt something from it in our daily lives. So, are you ready, Claire?
Yes. Are you?
Of course. Yes. So the rules were we had to be 100% vegan for an entire week. Question marks on that. We'll discuss why I have question marks. I think I was not exactly 100%, but the document and document the process. So we documented the process, and so whether we were going to cook, eat out, order in, or just go into a crash diet. But the aim was to stick to being 100% vegan. Let's see how we did.
But first, to show that it's not just our personal experiences that are being aired here, let's introduce today's expert. Amanda Scoville is a self-confessed no-meat athlete, hashtag no-meat athlete, a bona fide vegan animal lover, runner, and globetrotter who has been on an entirely plant-based diet since 2018. She is a mean cook and host and loves helping people discover the joys of vegan cooking and eating. She has a husband, Patrick, 2 dogs, Lily and Lewa. Her face softened a lot when I mentioned the dogs and not the husband.
Which one, Lily or Lewa?
She has 2 ducks called Chalky White and Regina George. Whew, try saying that with a mouthful of vegan soya tofu something. And she joins us in the studio today to share some of her lived experience and, from our point of view, her expertise. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. Yes, girls. It's a pleasure to be here. When Claire said I was a mean cook, I don't think she was referring to my actual characteristics, but I might actually be a good cook. So good that my husband has decided to be vegan too, following me.
How long after?
Just 6 months. So I became vegan in 2018 of September. The rule was that, I was not going to be cooking meat or animal products at home. And so if he wanted to, he could make his own food. And when we were out, he could order whatever he wanted. But so my food was so good that he just decided that he was gonna go with that. Either that or he was just too lazy to cook.
Exactly. I think it's the second part.
No, I strongly believe I've tried her food and I can safely say she's a good cook.
Oh, wow.
So why would there's nothing missing. You don't need anything more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that and why. So before we get into the details, Claire, how would you describe your week of being vegan in exactly 3 words?
I'm going to try and bend the rules here. Does it have to be 3 words?
Just try around there.
Okay. So my words for my week of being vegan would be gas-powered conversation starter. Does that count as 3?
Yeah, it's cheating, but it works, kind of.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of 2 words. It's kind of 4. So as an average, that's 3. What about you?
Ooh, mine would be, I think the best description is lack of ideas.
Lack of ideas.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I want to hear more about this. Can we get stuck into finding more about your week of being vegan?
Yes, are you ready?
Yeah.
So, how my week began, my weekend one day extra. Thank you, Claire. So the week began with a lot of optimism. I thought I could do this. I have some experience with vegan ex-boyfriends, living in Zanzibar, where I was able to eat like a vegan especially because I was broke. And I couldn't find meat a lot. And I was also optimistic because I don't know, I was just interested in doing something new. So it's day 2 of veganism, and yeah, there was a little temptation. I saw some samosas and I was a lot tempted, but I didn't eat them. So the temptations are starting to build up, but I'm strong enough. Yeah, let's see how day 2 goes. But then on Monday, I think that was day 2, we went to Sophie's place. Sophie is one of our friends, and she's vegan as well, so she cooked us dinner. And that's the point where we had this discussion about 100% and what is 100%. And then the idea of honey and the idea of beef cubes came up. And I order a lot, so I just saw a problem in my week already. So as the week went on, I thought I would have more ideas, but it started with eating leftovers from Sophie the next day. So I was good for the next day. Day 3, I was fine. Then the rest of the week, things started getting iffy. Here's some of my experiences.
So it's almost 5:30. Day 4 of being vegan. I'm worrying about what to eat today. Because I can't really order from the normal restaurants because they might be using meat infused spicing. So I'm trying to see what to eat today. And salads are out of the question, kind of, because for me, I normally have chicken in the salad. So I need to think a lot harder today if I want a salad. Maybe I'll try a normal salad with no chicken, but can I do it? I don't know.
So one night after work, mind you, it was a busy week, and so I didn't get time to cook. And as I said, I don't normally get time to cook because I live by myself and it takes a lot of time. So that night, I ate 2 carrots and some hibiscus tea.
What?
Because I was out of ideas. And those carrots were only because Sophie told me to carry them from the dinner on day 2. So otherwise, I wouldn't have anything to eat.
So day 3 dinner was carrots and tea.
Yes. You see, I started with optimism.
Yeah. Coffee and peanuts.
Things went downhill
Awesome.
from Sophie's dinner. The ideas disappeared.
Yeah.
So
but I like how you're trying to convince yourself that you're saying, but I can resist. I am strong enough. I think that's really positive thinking. That, my friend, is yes girls thinking.
Thank you. It's really hard to be creative when you have no time in the kitchen. So the only creativity was a chapati avocado kachumbari mix. And that's not even creative. I stole the idea from the smoky guy on the street.
That was your vegan inspiration.
There's a day I hadn't eaten lunch, and then I was going somewhere, so I had to take something on the way. So I had to go to this smoky guy, and luckily he had the avocado and the mix. I told him no smoky, and he was like, "Why are you not taking the smoky?" I had to explain to him, "Yeah, I can't."
And just for anyone outside of Kenya or even outside of Nairobi, a smoky is like a processed pork sausage that has dubious meat inside it,
That's very
wrapped in
delicious.
something which might be plastic or might not be. And they're sold on the streets as a snack, as a very cheap snack.
But it's very delicious. Anyway, I also think I was being creative when I was ordering from an Indian restaurant. I think I told you that. Indian restaurant, but I could only get the bhajia. I didn't think there was anything else worth getting. And once from an Ethiopian restaurant where I got legumes that made me, laxitate. Is that even a word?
I was laxative.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of running out of ideas on what to eat. On day 5, what I did is that I figured, okay, maybe I could try Ethiopian food. So I tried getting injera and the legumes that they have. It was really cool, but the problem is it acted like a laxative. I just felt like going to the toilet. So that's one of the problems. So now I'm not sure what to eat today.
So every time I ate that food,
gas-powered conversation starter.
Exactly.
Yes.
Every time I ate that food, I just went to the toilet. So at the end of the week, though my diet was pretty much okay, I think Amanda will tell me, it went to shit in the weekend because I was at a friend's place and I had to eat chips, 4 chips, French fries, for 1.5 days. So overall, I'd rate myself a 5 out of 10 from what I ate. But considering how my life is totally going to change after this, I think I'd rate myself 7 to 10. Why? Because let's hear.
It's day 2, back to normal after being vegan for an entire week. And today something strange happened. It's very weird. I think my microbiome is fighting one of the meat products I had today. So yesterday I had chicken. What did I have? Okay. Can I remember what I had yesterday? Damn it, I can't remember. But I had meat. And today I also had... I had pork today. And I also drank milk. So one of them is messing up with my stomach because I continued working and then I started feeling a bit weird in the stomach, or just not even in the stomach. I just started feeling weird energetically, like less energy. So apparently this experiment is going to continue for the next few days until I see what exactly is the problem. And I hope it's not the meat because I love my meat, kind of. So, hope it's not the meat. I bet it's the dairy. It's the milk, so let's see.
So, yeah, I'm having issues with taking animal products at the moment because it's hard to explain because I'm just having a lethargic feeling after eating meat. So it's kind of like my stomach is telling me, what the hell are you doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, to add into that, I think a lot of the times, like even before I became vegan, I had this idea of what normal felt like. So that heavy feeling probably used to just be part of you, not realizing that that was an actually abnormal feeling after being vegan for a week. So after being vegan for almost 3 years, like if I was to eat I wouldn't, but if I was to eat like a steak or something, I'd probably be out for days just because I recognized that heavy feeling. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to stay vegan after my 30-day experience. I can talk. But also to add in to that, French fries also kind of end up sometimes being a staple of my diet too, because sometimes you go out to these restaurants and that's all there is. And you don't want to be that like nagging vegan. We're like, oh, can we go somewhere else? Because, my mindset is like, I don't do this all the time. Wherever we go, there's almost always French fries. So
Exactly.
it happens.
And thank God potatoes are not from animals.
Yeah.
We'd be dead by now, I think.
Oh, exactly. But I mean, other than the 2 carrots and tea day, I feel like we did okay. So I would give you a 7. Are we doing that
Oh,
yet?
no, we're not giving the
no.
ratings
We're
yet.
not giving ratings.
Let's see what else we have to say.
Got it.
And take
Sorry
some time
about
to
that.
mull it over, and then you as our judge can give your feedback
give
on
it.
how you think we did, and not only how you think we performed, but also maybe how it impacted our lives and how it might continue to
Got
impact
it.
our lives.
I will
So
be
Claire,
patient.
what do you think happened in your
So, my week. Wow. There's just so much to say. How to condense a whole week into just a few minutes, but let's give it a go. I do a lot of cooking. So I usually cook 3 meals a day for 2 people. That's myself and my partner, Saxo, who is the most ravenous carnivore you could possibly hope to meet. So that was probably my biggest challenge this week. So I was going to have to stock my pantry and fridge in a slightly different way. I have a whole cheese and cream shelf in my fridge, which I would have to bypass for a whole week, but it was still full. So you can imagine the temptation just lying there. So let's just listen a little bit to what happened when I went shopping for to stock my pantry. So I'm doing my shopping to be vegan for a week, and I like to use stock cubes. So I'm looking at the stock cubes, and I found the tomato and onion ones. I'm like, great. That is perfect, because it's just tomato and onion, surely. But then under allergens, it says may contain cow's milk, egg, gluten, and soya. So cow's milk and egg definitely aren't vegan. So those stock cubes are out of the question. So the only ones left to me are these fancy yeast-free, organic, very low salt ones, which cost, more than 5 times the other ones. I'm just going to have to do without stock, I think, guys. So you see, even the things that you would think would be vegan weren't. That was a challenge. I think just having to look at the ingredients, and I'm sure after much more than a week, if we were doing this for several months, you'd start to be able to preempt these things and just know certain products. But certainly as a vegan virgin, that was a learning experience. So I did use a lot of fresh herbs and spices and, found ways around that. But I had to be more inventive. That I enjoyed. I like having to think out of the box and experiment. And that's certainly what I had to do. But luckily, I did have some vegan mentors, including my brother, who is I would say mostly vegan, but he's also my big brother. So his advice was, just don't eat meat, which was very helpful. And then saying, well, hippos and rhinos don't eat meat, so you'll be fine. And I think I said to him, maybe I'll just sit on you like a hippo would. And then the conversation degenerated. So not very helpful. Amanda, though, did give me some great recipe ideas. And especially as she's a fellow runner, she had some great kind of energy-packed ideas. And my favorite was this amazing hummus and pickle wrap. Whatever your regular diet is, try it. Try it. I'm going to get into your subliminal consciousness here. Just a shop-bought tortilla wrap, some homemade hummus, which is one of the fastest things to make, and some sliced up pickles from the jar.
I think we have to do that actually on the social media so that you see that.
Yeah, we'll show a step-by-step on how you can make it and experience it, and we will credit it to Amanda.
Well, I got that recipe from my other vegan ultra runner friend in the States, so I can't take 100% credit for it. That definitely is my buddy Dagmar, who I'll give a little shout out to just in case she's listening and I don't get in trouble.
Well, let's make this recipe go around the world. Let's make this recipe go viral.
But that's what got her through her first 100 milers. So what are you going to do?
Wow.
Can't be too bad then. So next, I think I have to touch on one of the main themes of my week. The gas. Gas everywhere, people, all the time. I said gas-powered conversation starter. And it's gas coming out of, just about everywhere.
What?
So Yeah, and I said I'm a runner, so there were some interesting times. So I just want to show you a little bit of me discussing with my partner, Saxo, who was also by default on a primarily vegan diet, at least when he was at home or carrying breakfast or lunch to work, because I do most of the cooking. So let's hear. So what do you think about my whole vegan experience so far? Is that what you think of it?
Yeah, a lot of fat.
A lot of fatting from what? Why?
The beans are not fully well cooked, are not 100% cooked. I'll take you to a place where they sell beans. Actually, it's most...
So you're criticizing my bean cooking. So there you have
The beans.
Yeah, he was blaming it that I wasn't cooking the beans properly. I can tell you I cooked them properly, but
you were
just the
soaking them,
amount-
right?
I
And
was soaking them.
everything.
I was cooking the living daylights out of them. But when you're just eating that much more fiber and you're eating legumes and grains and pulses and beans, it's going to happen, okay? And the worst thing was, as a runner, I often run with other people. So I had to warn them before we started our run. And for once, I very generously let everyone run in front of me. Just don't stand behind me. You go on ahead. No, but I've got to say, when it came to running, I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage. Right? I didn't feel like I wasn't able to run fast or run long. I didn't do any ultras in this time, but I did some pretty good runs that I was proud of. And I also, at the same time, discovered in no small part, thanks to Amanda, the no meat athlete hashtag, which shows it's a big deal, right? There's a lot of athletes and very sporty people out there who are on no meat diets. I still did some pretty cool trail runs on this during this week. I went to Mount Suswa and went around the rim. I raced the Nairobi commuter train on this diet.
Did you catch it?
I did.
Yes.
I made it. I made it at the same sort of time as the Nairobi commuter train. So I can't say that I was, again, at any sort of disadvantage, at least for a week. So now about cooking. That was pretty straightforward. A week isn't really that long, especially as I was more or less at home and in charge of meals and meal times. I think that's crucial when you have control over when you can eat and what you can eat. I'm not out and about all the time, especially now with working from home. My life is very different to how it was, let's say, a year and a half ago. And soy mince, people, was revolutionary.
Which brand?
Soy mince, just the basic one you find. It costs it costs peanuts.
The one you didn't like before.
No, that's soy chunks, but soy mince.
Okay, mince is
My
better.
partner didn't even notice it wasn't meat.
No.
And he asked for seconds, people. Yes.
Wow.
And normally he refuses a meal if it doesn't contain meat. Okay. But the challenge came when I went away camping with a non-vegan friend. And I took on all the cooking just so that I could, again, kind of have control over what we were eating and when. So I think I did pretty well, but I'll let her give her verdict. This is my friend Liz. So how did I do on my veganism this week? Or this weekend, rather, in the, 26 hours that we've been together? 28?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, we had first we made lots of food, so thanks for that. And then, so we had, what was for lunch? Was it wrap?
Wrap and vegetables,
samosas. We had chapati. Ooh, the salad was really good, especially this morning.
bean salad
the
for
bean
breakfast.
salad for breakfast.
Why not?
Yeah. And then what did you call it? The bolognese.
Pasta soyonnaise.
Yeah, I think I like bolognese better.
As in, you like the sound of bolognese better or the dish?
And I think it's really long since I had like bolognese, but it was delicious last night's meal.
Well, you did finish it without even realizing it.
I did. I shouldn't have given you part of my...
You wanted more!
No, but I was full. Okay, well, yeah, and then this morning we had... Yeah, you had soy milk, gross. I had dairy milk with a cow in it.
So you've basically been 95% vegan with me. I've been
Yes.
100% vegan, right? You've been 95% except for the milk. I think that is, like, how do you feel after like 28 hours of basically being vegan?
It's all right. I mean, it's normal. It's yeah, not a major. One was delicious. You did all the cooking.
But it's always better when it's cooked by someone else.
No, it was good. I mean, I don't eat that much meat usually, but nothing was good. I could do it again if you have milk. Exceptions and eggs. Yeah. I was supposed to have eggs, but I ended up not having.
Well, the fact that you didn't have the eggs shows me that you got satisfaction from all the vegan food that I brought. Or you were just too lazy to cook the eggs. So that was, a verdict from someone else, not just me. And the second part of my summary, right? Gas-powered conversation starter. So it really was a great way to explore this topic and all the subtleties around it with friends from different countries, from different backgrounds and diets, and just learning how everyone's really curious about it. I mean, it really is a huge topic of conversation, and there's so much that a lot of people don't know, but would love to experiment with it. So definitely, we'll love to hear from Amanda about how maybe everyone could just get started and take some small steps towards adopting some vegan practices maybe. So overall, let me give my personal rating of myself. I don't want to be too generous, but I think in terms of my performance, I would give myself maybe an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10.
Very generous.
It's generous, but hold on.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
It
that's
makes
in
sense.
terms of performance, but now there's experience. So I definitely ate less because sometimes I felt like I didn't have enough tempting snack choices, and I'm a bit of a snacker. But that was probably just my personal lack of planning and imagination.
I think so.
And when you feel like you're deprived, you'll say, oh, I just won't bother eating because someone won't let me eat chocolate, but that someone is myself. So in terms of my experience, maybe a 7 out of 10, because of the gassiness and having to plan everything. Every time I left the house, having to think, where am I going to eat? Because I eat a lot, right? I do a lot of sport, and making sure I'd have enough to eat at the right times, even if I lacked readily available options to buy. So performance, maybe 9 out of 10, experience, maybe 7 out of 10. But I'm willing to be graded down,
No.
It's,
I don't think you will.
I'm excuse the pun, but maybe I'm tooting my own horn a little bit there.
Oh my gosh.
But one question, like, did you feel any apart from the gas, did you feel any energy difference during that
Apart
week,
from
or you're not
sometimes
sure?
feeling hungry, which again was my fault. Like I said, I think I generally felt pretty energetic. My runs didn't suffer. I definitely felt the difference of eating more carbs, so probably feeling a bit more bloated sometimes.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed the food I could cook, and also just feeling like I'm making more conscious food choices. That felt good as well, and that can affect your physical feelings. So I think now we need to hear from someone who can actually rate us.
Exactly.
Say, how did we do? We know how we think we did, but Amanda,
Are you sure it's my turn now? It's okay.
now you can tell us.
Please
spill
don't
the
change my
beans.
rating. Do not change my
Who
rating.
wants to go first?
Okay, just do me. Please don't change anything. It's a threat.
Do you know, on paper it wasn't terribly impressive, but I felt for you because I was just like, oh, do you know, I've done similar things to where I'm just like, okay, maybe not quite as extreme as the 2 carrots and tea for dinner, but
Hashtag 2 carrots and
right.
tea.
I mean, I definitely got a chuckle out of it.
They were nice carrots. They were really tasty.
And just to explain that Amanda is actually basing her rating off written food diaries. So it's not
Yes.
just hearsay. We both kept very accurate or varying degrees of accuracy food diaries that Amanda has to judge us on.
This is correct. So I'm looking at a page and a half of Akuma's out of 4. But so it's okay. It's all right. She just, it's new. But I will say I'll still give you a 7.
Yay!
Mainly based on the fact that, you looked that beef samosa in the face and said, not today, beef samosa, not today. And I feel like for me, I had a little bit more of a gradual introduction into veganism. Not much more, but definitely didn't go from like eating a steak to a full week of no meat and no animal products. So I would say for just jumping into it and saying that you didn't have as much time to cook and do all these other things that you did exceptionally well. So maybe even a 7.5.
Thank you. Wow.
Wow.
Actually, most of my friends actually say the same. They said, you have so much fortitude. No one is checking. Just eat meat and then lie.
Oh, no. Okay.
But I didn't.
Oh, good. I'm so proud of you. But yeah, I think you definitely, there's definitely room for improvement.
A lot.
But, we'll talk more about how you can add more of this into a regular routine. But I mean, for just 1 week trying something completely different, you did awesome.
Thank you.
So Claire, I think also with you, I definitely have a lot more to look at here.
I just like giving details. So I'll tell you exactly where.
And also, Claire, it's more than me.
Yeah.
But I think in comparison to, I actually really like to cook, but I only really like to cook when I have the time to cook and enjoy it. So I felt for you when you said that, with my work schedule and this, like I just don't have the time to do this. And I think that was an extra challenge for you, but someone who really enjoys being in the kitchen, which was like nice to hear Claire say like how creative you had to get, because that was something too. My challenge with becoming vegan, well, not really so much a challenge, is like even like going out to restaurants, your options are much less. And so I ended up trying things that I normally would never order because I had a choice of that or one other thing, or French fries, as we all know. But, so I think it's really opened me up to trying new and different things that I normally wouldn't. And I've actually found some of my favorite foods that way. But Claire I have a very detailed food diary in front of me. And I was just really impressed of how much work and effort she put into it. Even with the crisp that she talked about that she scrambled over. There have been even many times in my experience, still 2.5 years later, to where I'll pick something up and not look at the ingredients and then get home and see like milk powder. I'm like, why does that have any business being here?
Yeah.
And so even as an experienced vegan, I still run into those challenges and obstacles a lot, but you just learn as you go. But I would say overall, I'd give you a 9.
Definitely.
See, I wasn't too generous with myself.
You are.
No,
I was making fun of you.
Thank you.
And as far as the gas goes, I will say that it does get better.
You want to keep trying?
Yeah, but it's also one of those things I joke about too, like running when there's like a bad smell around. Like all you can really say is just like you're just helping other people run faster because they want to get away from it. So maybe
true.
not fall behind next time, but be in front as an inspiration to get past you.
Maybe not warn them. They'll learn. They'll learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And just to clarify the point about the crisps, because I think we mentioned it when we were kind of preparing, having the preparatory talks for this episode. It was a packet of crisps that we were tempted to eat with my friend Liz when we were driving back from our camping trip. It was the only food in the car, apart from 10 liters of milk that she'd bought, which obviously I knew I couldn't touch. And they were cheese and onion flavored crisps. So we looked at the ingredients and it said handled in a factory that also handles maybe milk and eggs. But we took that to mean not necessarily it contains traces of, but it might be in the same room as, on the same production line as. So I gave myself the green light there. Amanda says that was probably the right call.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that even happens with like things I think mainly companies just give that disclaimer for someone who has a serious allergy that like, hey, there could be traces of this, but it's not actually an ingredient in this product. But I feel like maybe you should be more concerned about how your cheddar and onion chips didn't have any real cheese in them.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
under normal circumstances, that would be my concern.
That's always what I hope for when I look on ingredients when it's cheddar. But like, do you know, all these companies always pride themselves on having real cheddar. And I'm like, no, I want the fake cheese.
And that brings us on to a question that I've been wanting to ask you now, Amanda, since we started recording this episode, is about the motivation, right? So we were being pretty tough on ourselves and saying, no, we can't. Not because necessarily of a personal conviction that it's wrong or that we've made this choice for a lifestyle, but because we were doing this as an experiment. And we're very conscious here that we were doing this for education and entertainment purposes. And we want to be very, very respectful of anyone that chooses to do this as a lifestyle for their own personal reasons. But there can be so many different reasons for doing it. So I would love to know for you, Amanda, what is your motivation for doing it? And how can that affect maybe how different people follow a plant-based diet or a variation thereof?
So everyone has different reasons for going vegan. I know for my husband, it's more for the environmental factor. For me, it's almost always been about animals. I'm an animal lover. I don't see any difference. If I wouldn't eat my dog, why would I eat a chicken? I know that sounds silly to some people, but to me, I'm just like, we have these animals as pets and we love them. So why don't we love the other animals in the same sense? Because they're both sentient beings. They both have feelings. They both feel pain. So for me, when I think about eating meat, I'm just like, oh man, that could be Lewa or Lily, which in China it could be. So, who knows? But, and that was one of the points I made to my husband as well when he was still not vegan, but on his way to being vegan. He was so upset about this rhino poaching video he had watched. And, I felt for him because it made me sad too. But then I explained to him, I was like, well, this is the way I feel about all animals. And so I think that really kind of stuck with him a little bit, even though he's still more about the environment. But for me, it's just, I believe in living a kind lifestyle to where I am going to be kind to every kind. And, if living vegan and not hurting animals or causing purposeful harm to an animal, like that just makes me have a clear conscience.
Okay. I have two questions.
Sure.
You remember the discussion we had at Sophie's place? Sophie is the one we went to dinner with, and she cooked a vegan dinner for us on
we were
day
supposed
2.
to be cooking it, but actually we just ended up getting in her way.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
So we had 2 discussions, especially about wine that might have some anti-vegan elements into it. How do you know about that if you're buying wine? And also the other question, you remember the discussion we had about honey.
Honey. Okay. Yeah.
How vegan is honey?
#Honeygate.
So that to start with the honey, that is going to be a different answer for every vegan. For me, I don't seek out honey. Like I wouldn't purposely put honey in my tea. But say, for instance, I pick up a loaf of bread and that's the ingredient on there that would be considered non-vegan. I don't really let that bother me so much. I mean, honey is essentially bee barf.
Hold on, say that again.
Bee barf. So, I mean, it's
some bee barf in your tea?
See, how appetizing does that sound now? But it's one of those things too, especially for the animal aspect of me. from my experience, like it all really just depends on how those bees are raised, and if it's a natural process, because like a bee is not going to eat, it doesn't need all the honey that it produces in a hive.
It doesn't, exactly.
So if you're taking from it in a responsible and sustainable way, and you're not harming the bees, then I see it kind of as that thin line that some vegans are going to get a little crazy about. And then there's vegans like me who are just like, you know what, if
I thought so.
Yeah.
Because I use honey a lot. So I really.
Yeah. But I mean,
really
there are also alternatives to that too. A lot of times, like if a recipe calls for honey, I'll put in a little bit of maple syrup, or agave syrup is also vegan. So, I mean, there are options. I don't normally add a lot of sweeteners to my things anyway, so it's never really been a thing for me. But yeah, if you want to eat bee barf, go ahead.
I love bee barf. Also on my face and stuff. So
as far as wine goes, I know that's a thing. I don't really drink a lot, so it's not really something that comes up very often for me. But if it is vegan wine, it should say so on the bottle. But it's also kind of like one of those thin line things that, like, if you're gonna do it, do it. If not, but
so can you really be 100% vegan then?
I mean,
that's the question.
Honestly, probably not. I mean, I think the main point of being vegan is causing as little harm as you possibly can as a person. And so nothing's ever going to be 100%, but I feel like the attitude behind it, as long as you're not purposely trying to go out and harm animals, or picking up something that says may contain this or that, like no one's perfect. And I feel like a lot of vegans end up beating themselves up over things like this when there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, over the last 3 years, I've bitten into things like that were meant to be vegetables, and it turns out it was a beef samosa instead of a veggie samosa. And like, it was really traumatizing to me. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do. I didn't continue to eat it, but like I was just like, this wasn't my fault. And like, even the other day, Patrick brought home like a box of crackers, and I was already halfway through the box when I looked at the ingredients and it said milk. I was just like, what? But things happen.
Yeah.
And I think as long as your intentions are good, then maybe not 100% vegan, but like, as long as you try your best.
And I've heard you say before that it's also finding what's right for you. What's right for you might not be the same as what's right for the person sitting opposite you. So I think, is that a healthy attitude to go into it with?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes vegans get a bad rep because everyone thinks that we're like sitting on our pedestal and judging everyone for their food choices. And I've always said, I was just like, this works for me and my body and my lifestyle, but it's not going to work. It's not a cookie cutter thing. Like, all diets are different. Like, some people are allergic to gluten and have celiac. And, there's other people who are allergic to soy, and being a vegan and not being able to have soy is almost literally impossible. Well, at least it's not impossible, but in order to get all the nutrients and everything you need, like, it's not going to work for everyone. And I think like just shaming people for eating meat and animal products without knowing their story is just not something I want to be known for, but I know that it is a common misconception of my people. So
your people.
So if, let's say, someone who's listening to this maybe is thinking, wow, maybe I should start, phasing out one or two things, or I want to try this, or I've been wanting to do this. How could you say someone might start that first step, a baby step, or a first series of leaps to try this out?
I mean, honestly, just one meal at a time. There's a lot of people I know that do meatless Mondays, or my best friend from back home, she she for the last 10 years has not eaten meat at lunchtime, and that's her thing. She always has a vegetarian or vegan lunch. And so I think not everyone's going to be able to go cold turkey, no pun intended, but probably wasn't the best pun to use for a vegan.
Cold soy.
But yeah, cold soy, that's a good one. Cold tofu. So, but I think just making little changes here and there, switching from, dairy milk to soy or nut milk is an easy switch to make.
But expensive.
It can be especially here, milk prices I think are a lot lower than they are in the States. But I actually don't buy store-bought milk. I make my own. So
What?
yeah, I make my own homemade cashew milk. I like it because it's a little bit creamier than the others, and then you don't have all the preservatives added into it. But nuts are also expensive. But you could also make your own oat milk, which a bag of oats really isn't very expensive and pretty easy to make. You just need water and oats.
Okay.
So there are some cost-effective ways you can do it. I mean, your basic vegan diet can actually be really affordable because your staples are rice and beans and chickpeas and all these other things that cost like 200 shillings a bag.
Exactly.
So I think just one step at a time and just slowly adding things in, or just being like, hey, this week I'm going to eat 3 days where I don't have any animal products. And then maybe next week or next month, I'll change that to 4 days. And so however long it does take you, I mean, at least you're taking the right steps towards living a kinder lifestyle. And like I said, I'm not going to judge you. So
Well, you were judging us,
judging now,
but we asked
not
you to.
judging. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm judging you, but I'm not judging you.
And we asked for it, all right?
Yeah. So things like that, and even like with snacking, instead of grabbing some crisp, like just grab an apple. Little changes.
Okay. So that's it from us. Now I want to hear from you. What have you said yes to recently?
Have you said yes to a full vegan diet?
Are you doing a couch to vegan in 3 months challenge?
Have you been there, done that, and regretted it?
Tell us about it on our Instagram page. It's Yes Girls Podcast. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Yeah.
And if you want to suggest something that you think the Yes Girls should do, be, or learn for a future episode, send us your ideas. If you want to share your expertise, business, or passion with us through one of our episodes, just get in touch. That's at Yes Girls Podcast.
And be kind to us. Don't give us very hard challenges. And
you
we
guys have already done that for yourself.
Exactly. And we'll also share behind the scenes photos and videos of our experiences of us doing being and learning. So watch out for that on our Instagram and Twitter, Facebook pages. And so you can get a little of what we put out ourselves through in the name of doing being and learning for your entertainment.
For your entertainment and education.
Hopefully. So, massive thank you to our purely positive producer, Dana Seda, hosted by Semabox at Baraza Media Labs, and to our vegan vixens, Amanda, thank you. And of course, Sophie, who's not here with us, but Sophie Kaminsky. This is a shout out to you for the dinner you had with us and for opening our eyes as well on that day. And to our forever forgiving friends, our families who had no idea what the hell we are doing and why the hell we are doing it, and for their support and for all our podcast-related projects. And finally, to you, our assenting audience, our loving listeners, the Yes Girls and Boys.
We'll see you next episode where you'll learn why we're so very interested that Greece is one of the most vegan-friendly nations, I can finally say, as we learn not only to order food in Greek, but also communicate and express ourselves as we take on one of the world's most ancient languages.
Do you have a word to say?
Moussaka, Acropolis, Athens, Zeus. Wait, was Zeus Greek or Roman? Oh,
Who knows?
Oh boy.
That's it for this episode of
The
Yes Girls.